I was born near the border, the Canadian-U.S. border, on the U.S. side, on the Pacific Ocean, where there are mountains, forests, and the Pacific Ocean, which laps up right on my city there. Following that, I completed my physics degree at the University of Washington in nearby Seattle. Seattle is known for Starbucks and Microsoft and many other large electronic entities. From that time on, I was working as a street therapist. I worked with refugees, and I taught physics and engineering at a center for disadvantaged students who didn't have the same opportunities that other students had. And that included the First Nation people, the Amerindians, included inner city African Americans, included Latinos coming from Mexico, included people who are just poor. And so I worked with them a great deal. And then I moved over to the minority engineering program. I taught engineering courses and also coordinated that program in the College of Engineering at the University of Washington. Looking forward to moving closer to working with people directly in a more fundamental way. I was at the time working with refugees from El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, people who were fighting in civil wars in Central America. And so it inspired me to go down and to do volunteer work with war displaced and in selecting El Salvador during its civil war there. But prior to going down to El Salvador, I went to Southern California to complete a master's degree in biostatistics at a school of public health there, and then moved down to El Salvador to work with war displaced in community development, in developing a clinic, in developing a health system when they had no access to any kind of health care whatsoever, and tried to kind of protect them from disease, from the violence, trying to help people as best we can who are living along the railroad tracks. Included over 100,000 people. Most of the people I worked with were probably closer to 5,000. But over 100,000 people were estimated to live along the railroad tracks there. After completing my work there, I moved back to the States, was accepted into Johns Hopkins School of Public Health on the East Coast, and continued my studies there in infectious disease epidemiology. I founded the Health and Human Rights Group. I was working with gangs at the time, trying to help some of the gang members get out of the situation they were working in before they were either dead or in prison. And I continued working and taking trips and teaching in places like Armenia, and working in other locations such as Guyana, which is British Guyana, which is part of South America, Suriname, which is also part of South America, Belize, which is part of Central America, and many other countries, places like Bahamas, various countries, working shorter term in Argentina and Brazil, many different countries. So when I graduated there, I had the opportunity of either staying at Johns Hopkins on faculty there, or working with the World Health Organization, which I had extensively worked with already. And I decided to move to the World Health Organization and worked in the World Health Organization, the United Nations, for about 8 years, working in headquarters, then working in the field, including working in disasters, and working in kind of system development and maternity and child care systems, a variety of different types of work, throughout the system. I also worked with WHO in Southeast Asia, in Cambodia, Vietnam, in Laos, as well as the Philippines. And then at one point in time, I ended up returning to academia and continuing my work at the American University of Armenia in Yerevan, but continuing to teach that I'd already started at 3 weeks a year at places like Riyadh, the King Saud College of Medicine in Saudi Arabia, working in Suriname, at Tonde Com University, working in places like Barcelona, and for Johns Hopkins, and other locations as well. I was told about the new startup of the medical school in Nazarbayev University, a new university that was being established in Astana. And I was contacted by people who knew me and said, Byron, they need somebody like you. So I went through an interview with no job description, but I assumed they wanted evidence-based medicine courses for the medical students. And then when I arrived here, I also developed, because there was a need for it, and people were requesting it, for a Masters of Public Health program based on international standards, and developed a number of programs in the School of Medicine. So I continue working here at Nazarbayev University. We just received accreditation for the Masters of Public Health program, and I continue working with all the other programs as well in research methodologies, including the medical students quite extensively, as well as running 3 different programs, and of course spending a lot of time on lots and lots of committees, which always seems to happen. That the longer you're at a university, the more committees you're on. So that's kind of my background in a very, very short